The hard and rigid will be broken. The soft and pliant will overcome. Lao Tzu. In modern society, we are often taught that strength is supreme. We admire resilience, stability, rippling muscles, and an unyielding iron will. Strength is measured by the ability to assert oneself, fight against adversity, seize achievements, and dominate the world around us. This is the image of successful entrepreneurs showing off their opulent villas, and political leaders using strong rhetoric and not hesitating to employ military action. We believe that power will take us where we want to go. It is attractive and laudable, and thus many of us strive to become unbreakable pillars of steadfastness. Conversely, weakness is associated with powerlessness, inadequacy, fragility, manipulability, and hopelessness. Weakness seems to lead us nowhere. We find it unattractive and try to avoid, even hide it. We conceal our vulnerabilities out of shame. However, the ancient philosophy of Taoism points out that within weakness lies a type of energy we have never truly recognized or given fair credit to. Weakness is not necessarily the absence of power. Strength implies hardness and persistence, whereas weakness implies softness and malleability. But softness and malleability are by no means powerlessness. Furthermore, softness, and therefore weakness, possesses the strength to overcome hardness if employed correctly. Lao Tzu, the great Taoist philosopher, wrote, "Weakness is the way the Tao works. Strength is not always the answer. In many situations, softness, not force, and pliancy, not persistence, is the path forward. And we would be better off yielding instead of fighting, adapting instead of opposing, and submitting instead of dominating." This journey will explore the underestimated strength of softness through the lens of Taoist philosophy, a profound and healing wisdom for the modern soul exhausted by constant combat. A power beyond fear. Once upon a time, there was a king who only hired strong and brave men, believing they were the most capable of protecting him. A philosopher visited and told the king that a better strategy was not merely a strategy for defense, but one that ensured people did not even dare attack him in the first place. The king agreed. But then the philosopher argued that even if people were fearful, they might still desire to harm the king, which was still not ideal. Therefore, the better strategy was one that made people not want to harm him at all. The king nodded. And then the philosopher concluded, "Just because people do not wish to harm you does not mean they respect or love you. Suppose you had a strategy that could make them love and respect you so that your concerns became their concerns. Wouldn't this strategy be many times better than brute strength and courage?" The king was ecstatic when the philosopher suggested he rule with virtue and integrity. He kept his military forces, but by treating his people kindly, he would be loved and respected instead of feared, and his renown would surpass many sages. In this position, the king would very likely not need to hire strong men to protect him by force, because very few people would desire to attack him. Compare this to a leader who rules through intimidation and fear. Although he may succeed in protecting himself and his leadership position, he will attract continuous opposition. The people will hate him and seek to attack him, forcing him to increase his strength for self-protection. And thus, he is trapped in a vicious, exhausting cycle. Such leaders are quickly isolated and distanced from their populace because they oppose and oppress the people instead of harmonizing with them. This is a very tiring and unsustainable position. Governments ruled by tyrants rarely last long. They are eventually ruined from the inside out. Lao Tzu wrote, "It is not without reason that the worst leader is one who is scorned." Conversely, the good leader puts the interests of the people first and is loved by the people. The most excellent leader is the one who is hardly noticed. Brute strength might take a person far, but the soft method can lead to the power not even being needed. Soft power focuses on careful prevention, creating circumstances that minimize the likelihood of problems. rather than focusing on fighting problems that could have been prevented. Lao Tzu taught, deal with difficult matters while they are still easy. Do easy things before they become too hard. 2. Softness is adaptive wisdom. Softness does not come from anger, impatience, or fear, but from profound wisdom. It is the art of understanding nature and flowing with it rather than trying to bend it to one's will. There was an animal keeper named Liang who was famous for his ability to tame wild creatures like tigers and wolves. He made them so compliant that he could let them roam freely in his courtyard. Liang explained that the secret to domesticating these animals was understanding their nature. One should neither impose one's will upon them nor provoke their aggression. The key to success lies in prudence and adaptability. For example, the keeper never fed the tigers live animals because this would ignite their ferocity. He also did not feed them when they were too hungry or too full, ensuring they felt satisfied when fed. He said, if they are too happy or too excited, they might become aggressive. You need to keep them in a balanced state, neither overly joyous nor discontent. By doing so, the tigers felt comfortable roaming in the keeper's garden. Liang did not use force. He adapted his approach to the animal's nature, carefully considering his actions, and it worked. If he had tried to force his way, the tigers would likely have resisted or left. Hard strength is often a crude and inefficient method because it only addresses the surface of the problem. Look at the enormous prison system in the United States. Research suggests that incarcerating people causes more harm than good. It does not help people improve their prospects or facilitate successful reintegration into society. It is a harsh, blunt method of dealing with crime based more on anger and fear than on wisdom. Conversely, Finland employs open prisons. These facilities have no locks or gates, no prison uniforms, and inmates are allowed to go into the city for groceries. They are permitted to work, study, and care for themselves. They learn self-control, in contrast to conventional prisons where everything is controlled. Instead of serving sentences under detrimental conditions that only worsen their prospects, inmates are encouraged toward self-improvement, which prepares them for successful social reintegration. Although criticized for being too soft, the system is effective because the recidivism rate for these inmates is among the lowest in the world. This soft method deals with the root causes of crime, which are often complex and may involve difficult childhoods, poverty, lack of opportunity, or pure misfortune in life. It requires a subtle approach tailored to the individual. Instead of locking them away, the soft approach tries to help them in ways that make them no longer wish to engage in criminal activity in the first place. 3. The eternal lesson of water. The soft conquers the hard. In the Tao Te Ching, Lao Tzu described the strength of what he called the softest and most yielding substance, water. The moment you touch it, it moves. Even if you blow on it, water will bend to the air. It easily blends with other substances and is thus easily contaminated. It never holds a shape on its own, for it always requires its surroundings to define it. When you impede it, it changes direction. It simply adapts and settles when you keep it in a lake. When it is hot, it evaporates. When it is cold, it freezes. It never strives to accomplish anything. Sometimes it just stands still. It does not reside in higher places but naturally seeks the lowest ground. In many respects, water is weak. We do not want to yield. We want to push back. We do not want to be flexible. We want to stand our ground. We do not want to concede and submit. We want to defend our position and dominate. We do not want to be soft and bend. We want to be hard and persistent. Yet, the ancient Taoists believed that softness is in no way inferior to strength. Moreover, softness can conquer the hard and strong, as is the case with water. Water is the softest and most yielding substance. Yet, nothing is better than water for overcoming the hard and rigid, for nothing can compete with it. Everyone knows that the soft and pliable overcomes the hard and rigid, but few can put this knowledge into practice. Imagine a room with a group of people discussing a particular topic. Some of these individuals have little knowledge of the matter but dominate the conversation. Others have some knowledge of the subject and use it to argue against the absurdities uttered by those with little knowledge. Then there is a man who possesses the most knowledge on the topic, who only listens and asks questions. Who is the smartest person in the room? It is the one with the most knowledge, not only because he is the most knowledgeable, but also because by placing himself in the lowest position, he gathers more knowledge and new insights beyond what he already possessed. Instead of using force to dominate the conversation and impose his knowledge and ideas on others, he utilizes the soft approach of humility and receptiveness by listening and asking questions. He is willing to update his expertise if necessary. Through his gentle approach, he overcomes the hard and rigid. By seeking the lowest position, he resides in the least favored but most fertile place, the place where water flows. 4. Rigidity is a sign of inner death. The living are soft and pliable. The dead are hard and rigid. Living trees are flexible and tender. Dead trees are brittle and dry. The hard and rigid are disciples of death. The soft and pliable are disciples of life. This philosophy touches upon the nature of vulnerability and healing within our psyche. We often regard persistence in our principles as a positive trait. Steadfastness helps us survive. By being persistent, we protect ourselves against deceit, create order out of chaos, and generate clarity from ambiguity. We are not swayed by everything because we stand firm for something. But if we are too persistent, we become rigid, dry, inflexible, and thus unable to adapt to circumstances that may require us to update our foundational ideas. Soon the world becomes uninhabitable for us because we have become incompatible with it. We are cut off from life, like dead pieces of wood amidst a blossoming forest. Change is life, and life is change. When we are flexible, we easily follow an ever-changing reality and are therefore more in tune with life. Survival is not the survival of the strongest, but of those who manage best to adapt to suit their circumstances. Therefore, even if survival requires strength, it also needs the softness of adaptability. You either adapt or you perish. Excessive rigidity creates a temporary protective shell but leaves us isolated and exhausted from the constant, never-ending fight to defend outdated principles. We hide weakness for fear of being hurt, but that very concealment is the source of inner rigidity. A person who fears being wrong and must always be strong will never dare to listen to criticism or absorb new information. They close their heart and mind, building a mental prison with their persistence. Softness is healing. It allows us to admit mistakes, accept shortcomings, and let go of the need to control everything. It is the permission to be weak, to change, to flow like water. Softness is the complete celebration of life. When a child falls, we often teach them, "Get up and be strong." But Taoist philosophy advises us differently. Bend down so you won't be broken. Learn to submit to the great flow of life so that you do not have to fight every wave. Pliancy is not surrendering to fate, but embracing the wisdom of adaptation, accepting that sometimes seeking the lowest place is the path to the highest peak. The healing message here is to stop fighting yourself. Embrace the flexibility of your soul, the willingness to change, and the humility to learn. When you are soft like water, you can penetrate every crevice. You can wear down the hardest rocks without raising a sword. You do not need to be the biggest or the strongest. You only need to be the best at adapting. Because, as Lao Tzu said, the hard and rigid will be broken. The soft and pliant will overcome, a simple truth that holds the entire secret of survival and inner peace. This is the path to a sustainable life, full of vitality, and never cut off from the eternal flow of existence.